The story begins with a man named Jong-woo, a popular pilot admired for his impressive height and professionalism. Jong-woo works for a renowned airline, and his social media following continues to grow, further boosting his fame. This popularity has led to frequent television interviews, making him a household name. Not only that, many airlines have shown interest in recruiting Jong-woo, making him a sought-after figure in the aviation industry. As a result, Jong-woo has become a mascot for his airline, earning admiration from juniors like Hyun-suk, a young pilot who looks up to him. As a senior pilot, Jong-woo often shares his philosophy that as a pilot what they need to do is fly well, no matter where the location is. One evening, during a company dinner with colleagues, Jong-woo carelessly responded to comments from a drunk senior. His remarks, which objectified the appearance of flight attendants, were deemed inappropriate and quickly went viral. Overnight, his once brilliant career came crashing down. No airline would hire him, and he was blacklisted across the industry. To make matters worse, his wife decided to file for divorce. It turned out she had long been contemplating this decision, and the scandal presented the perfect opportunity. Finally, Jong-woo moved back in with his mother and his younger sister, Jong-mi, a makeup content creator. Both his mother and sister were unsurprised by the divorce, knowing Jong-woo had failed to make his wife happy. One day, Jong-woo attended an interview at Han Airlines. At that moment, he competed with other pilot candidates, including a woman named Sol-ji who had studied in the United States before returning to Korea, and determined to pursue her dream of becoming a pilot. Additionally, her firm stance against marriage and having children to prioritize her career impressed Mun-young, the airline director. This left Jong-woo feeling inadequate, and despite his background as an Air Force graduate, he was rejected for the position. Later, Jong-woo ran into Hyun-suk, who informed him that many airlines were now favoring female pilots due to the scandal Jong-woo had caused. Struggling with no income and mounting expenses, including a year's worth of financial support for his ex-wife, Jong-woo grew desperate. With no other options, he decided to apply for a pilot position under his sister's name. Upon learning about Jong-woo's plan, Jong-mi laughed in disbelief, calling it a crime. She argued that being a pilot wasn't the only job in the world. However, Jong-woo defended himself, explaining the high cost of living he had to cover, including the mortgage for the house they both lived in. Eventually, Jong-mi reluctantly agreed to his outrageous scheme. To help Jong-woo transform, Jong-mi used her makeup skills to give him a more feminine appearance. Initially, she suggested plastic surgery, but they didn't have enough money. They also bought new undergarments suitable for his disguise. The final touch was a pair of fake breasts to make the transformation more convincing. After fitting the prosthetics, Jong-mi took Jong-woo to a waxing salon to ensure his appearance as a woman was flawless. As a result, Jong-woo had to shave off all his body hair. Soon after, Jong-woo, now posing as Jong-mi, attended a job interview at Han Airlines. In the waiting room, he naturally sat with his legs apart, unintentionally revealing his undergarments despite wearing a skirt. Realizing his mistake, Jong-woo quickly adjusted his posture, remembering he was supposed to act like a woman. Shortly after, Jong-woo encountered Hyun-suk, who was chatting with a friend also applying for the job. Hyun-suk thought Jong-mi's face looked familiar, but couldn't quite place it. Sensing danger, Jong-woo excused himself and pretended to go to the restroom. During the interview, Jong-woo was nervous, afraid his true identity would be discovered. To cover up gaps in his fabricated flight history, he claimed experience flying on a remote, unknown island. To convince Mun-young, he even sang the national anthem of a small Pacific island, adding that he, like Sol-ji, had no desire to marry or have children. After completing a series of flight tests, Jong-woo, under the alias Jong-mi, was hired as a pilot at Han Airlines. At the welcome dinner for new pilots, Hyun-suk once again crossed paths with Jong-woo. He couldn't shake the feeling that Jong-mi's face seemed familiar. During the event, a senior pilot began ranting about Jong-woo's past scandal, arguing that his career's downfall was unfair since he had merely complimented attractive flight attendants. However, Sol-ji, who was also present, disagreed, stating that flight attendants didn't deserve to be objectified for their looks. To ease the tension, Jong-woo joined the group in singing and lightheartedly enjoying the evening. The next day, Jong-woo, under Jong-mi's persona, flew his first flight under the supervision of Captain Hyun-suk. During the flight, Hyun-suk noticed Jong-mi's slightly deep, masculine voice but found it fitting for a pilot, praising its clarity and even calling it sexy. Throughout the flight, Hyun-suk teased Jong-woo, likening himself to a dragon and calling Jong-woo a puppy. However, Jong-woo retorted that if anyone resembled a puppy, it was Hyun-suk, as he couldn't stop talking. Unexpectedly, Hyun-suk casually shared stories about Jong-woo, his brilliant senior. He praised Jong-woo's exceptional flying skills, which he had already mastered during school. However, Hyun-suk described Jong-woo as hypocritical and overly rational. It didn't take long for Jong-woo to realize that the hypocrite Hyun-suk referred to was actually himself. While waiting for his next flight, Jong-woo noticed a happy family, which contrasted sharply with his own broken marriage and irreparable home life. Memories of his failed marriage resurfaced, reminding him that his wife didn't ask for a divorce because of his job loss, but because it was time for him to understand what it felt like to be neglected. During the peak of his career, Jong-woo had been consumed by his selfishness. He never knew that his son, Si-hoo, dreamed of becoming a ballerina. He didn't know his wife had undergone stomach cancer surgery, nor did he remember his in-law's birthday. His wife was convinced that Jong-woo didn't even know his own mother's age. In the end, all she wanted was attention and a happy family. As Jong-woo silently contemplating, Sol Ji-ai approached, mistaking his sadness for embarrassment over a rumor circulating in the aviation community that Jong-woo had called Hyun-suk a puppy earlier. To cheer him up, Sol Ji-ai invited him to go shopping and hang out. During their outing, Jong-woo and Sol Ji-ai enjoyed delicious food and attended a ladies' night at a nightclub. At one point, Jong-woo opened up about his family. He shared how, as the eldest child of a single mother, he felt responsible for supporting his family and his younger sibling. As they grew closer, Jong-woo, despite being a man, began developing feelings for Sol Ji-ai. However, an unexpected sound from the duct tape securing his disguise under his skirt startled him. Panicked, he hurriedly hid in the bushes to avoid suspicion. Over time, Jong-woo's feelings for Sol Ji-ai deepened. Curious, he asked about her ideal type, which Sol Ji-ai immediately replied firmly that she disliked liars. Her words made Jong-woo decide to confess the truth to her after their next flight to Hawaii. During the flight to Hawaii, Jong-woo under Jong-mi's persona was paired with Hyun-suk again. This time, Hyun-suk boldly confessed his feelings for Jong-woo, revealing that he had blocked his number but couldn't move on. He then accused Jong-woo of being the one to seduce him first, mentioning moments like showing off his thighs during the interview and the way he glanced while drinking. As Hyun-suk was mid-confession, their plane encountered a serious problem, a mechanical failure in the middle of a storm. With the engines malfunctioning, the two pilots were faced with the critical task of saving the passengers, no matter what it took. As the situation grew critical, Hyun-suk tried to calm Jong-mi, unaware that she was actually Jong-woo in disguise. In reality, Hyun-suk was panicking himself. At one point, Jong-woo asked Hyun-suk to let him take control of the plane, but Hyun-suk refused, even as the aircraft began a rapid descent. Frustrated, Jong-woo lost his temper and inadvertently spoke in his natural male voice. It was at that moment that Hyun-suk realized the truth, that the woman he had feelings for was actually his senior, Jong-woo. The scene fast-forwards to Jong-woo waking up in a hospital bed. As the doctor approached to check on him, Jong-woo immediately got up and fled. However, as soon as he stepped outside, he was swarmed by reporters who hailed him as a hero. Due to Hyun-suk's trauma and subsequent memory loss, the role of captain was transferred to Jong-woo. Not only that, news of the heroic actions of a female pilot saving a flight spread across Korea, turning Jong-woo, in his persona as Jong-mi, into a national sensation. Fame quickly embraced Jong-woo under the name of Jong-mi. He appeared in numerous popular magazines and took on advertising gigs. In no time, his life regained its former brilliance, but now under the guise of Jong-mi. His face became the new mascot for the airline. One day, Han Airline CEO, Mun Young, invited Jong-woo and Sol Ji-ai to dinner. At that moment, Mun Young proudly declared that her company now had two exceptional female pilots who had accomplished great feats, one saving passengers, the other advocating for female workers. However, Jong-woo was puzzled by the mention of saving female workers. Mun-young then revealed that the scandal involving Jong-woo's inappropriate comments about flight attendants had been secretly recorded by Sol-ji-ai, who was present at the time and later leaked. Sol-ji-ai was visibly upset that the CEO had brought this up, as she had hoped to bury that secret forever. On their way home, Sol-ji-ai asked Jong-woo not to trust their CEO entirely. However, Jong-woo felt deeply betrayed. He confronted Sol-ji-ai, asking if she had ever considered the consequences for the pilot involved in the scandal. At that moment, Jong-woo revealed that the fallout had cost him his marriage, custody of his child, and his career. With bitterness and disappointment, Jong-woo, still in his disguise as Jong-mi, walked away, leaving Sol-ji-ai in silence. Sometime later, Jong-woo is seen spend some quality time with his son, Si-hoo, while on leave from flying. His peaceful day is interrupted by a message from Sol-ji-ai, who informs him she wants to visit his house. Alarmed, Jong-woo rushes home and changes into his Jong-mi's persona just in time. When Sol-ji-ai arrives, she explains that she's visiting because she felt that Jong-mi was upset with her after their previous conversation. Suddenly, Jong-woo's mother arrives and panic sets in. Jong-woo fears being exposed, but his mother only asks for a photo with Jong-mi, unaware that it's her own son in disguise. She is thrilled to learn a celebrity like Jong-mi is staying in their neighborhood. Thankfully, Jong-mi's real counterpart, Jong-woo's sister, steps in, explaining that the pilot is simply renting a room in their home since their mother is often away traveling. The situation becomes more complicated when Jong-woo's mother insists on calling her son. As luck would have it, Jong-woo's phone rings in his pocket. Quickly turning it off, Jong-woo pretends it was a phishing call. That same day, his mother throws a grand birthday party, inviting Sol-ji-ai and the famous pilot, Jong-mi. Forced to attend as his other persona, Jong-woo dresses up as a woman for his own mother's celebration. Throughout the party, his mother eagerly awaits the arrival of her son. This prompts Jong-woo to make quick costume changes, alternating between Jong-mi and himself. However, chaos ensues when his wallet falls, revealing Jong-mi's ID. At the same time, Sol-ji-ai sees it and suspicion mounts. Meanwhile, rumors spread at the airline that Sol-ji-ai has resigned after being exposed for leaking the recording of Jong-woo's scandal. Knowing this, Jong-woo tries to stop her from leaving, but Sol-ji-ai remains silent. She then asks if Jong-woo has anything to tell her, referencing his unfulfilled promise to share something after their Hawaii flight. Jong-woo, still posing as Jong-mi, denies having anything to say. Disappointed, Sol-ji-ai decides to leave, reiterating her disdain for dishonesty. On the other hand, Mun-young holds a meeting discussing the surge in customer interest after Jong-mi had become the airline's mascot. Shortly after, Jong-woo confronts Mun-young, urging her to reject Sol-ji-ai's resignation. Mun-young refuses, revealing that rival airlines have published an exposé claiming that the celebrated female pilot who saved the Hawaii flight is actually a man. Apparently, a leaked recording from the Hawaii flight captured Jong-mi's male voice during the emergency, forcing Mun-young to make a difficult decision. Mun-young explains that she has known all along that Jong-woo and Jong-mi were the same person. She understood that Jong-woo had disguised himself to save his career and income. However, the airline cannot afford another scandal, and Jong-mi's identity has become an integral part of their brand. Reluctantly, Mun-young chooses to shift the blame onto Sol-ji-ai to protect both the airline and his secret. Mun-young then offered Jong-woo the chance to continue working as Jong-mi for another year. After that, she promised to reinstate Jong-woo as a pilot without requiring him to maintain the female disguise. However, Jong-woo refused to sacrifice his friend for his own benefit. He no longer wanted to be selfish, as he had been in the past. Sometime later, during the opening ceremony of a new airline founded by Mun-young, Jong-woo, under his persona as Jong-mi, was invited to the stage as a newly appointed senior pilot to deliver a speech. Standing under the spotlight, Jong-woo made a shocking revelation. He confessed that he had been living a lie. Jong-mi, the famous pilot, was actually a man named Jong-woo, a different pilot who previously dismissed due to a scandal. Desperate for work, he had disguised himself as a female pilot. With sincerity, Jong-woo apologized to the flight attendants present at the party for the hurtful words he had said, admitting that he hadn't realized the pain his comments caused. Many reporters and attendees were skeptical of his claim, as Jong-woo still looked like Jong-mi in his wig and attire. To prove his point, Jong-woo removed his wig and prosthetics, revealing his muscular physique, and confirmed his identity as a man. He then apologized to Sol-ji-ai, admitting how deeply he regretted deceiving her. In the end, Jong-woo immediately set out to find her, eager to make amends in person. In the lobby, Jong-woo encountered Sol-ji-ai, who slapped him on both cheeks. She told him that while she had forgiven him as Jong-woo, she couldn't reconcile her feelings about Jong-mi. To bring closure, Jong-woo softened his voice and spoke as Jong-mi, apologizing directly to Sol-ji-ai. In the aftermath, Jong-woo became infamous, gaining media attention for the scandal. His pilot license was revoked, but the public noted that he still seemed to be doing well. Despite his controversial actions, many credited Jong-woo for saving hundreds of lives during the Hawaii flight. Though their paths rarely crossed, Jong-woo and Sol-ji-ai occasionally ran into each other, exchanging brief but meaningful glances. Jong-woo moved on to a new chapter, working as an instructor at Air Park Academy, a flight training center. Although his career as a pilot had ended, Jong-woo continued to live by his personal motto, to fly well, wherever you are. Moral lesson from the story: disguising yourself might get you a job, but it can also get you slapped twice. And remember, honesty saves you from duct tape disasters and awkward confessions.